Labour's new budget. It's almost as if Rachel Reeves, the new Chancellor, is trying to paint a new house, but ignoring the damage to the foundations. They say it's for the people. Real question is, which people? You? Me? Or that guy in the fancy suit? In this video, I intend to look at what's in the budget, who benefits and who doesn't, and come to some sort of a conclusion about will it work. So what's in the budget? Well, there's a positive economic stimulus package, tax incentives and business impacts, inflation and investment, and long-term sustainability. It's pretty much sounding like they're taking a sledgehammer to 10 years of Tory austerity, but there's a fine print. Who benefits and who doesn't? There's a lot to go over, but I'm going to keep some of the key positives here. There's going to be a wage boost for low-income workers. Labour intends to increase the national living wage to £12.21 per hour, and that's about £1,400 more for full-time workers each year. Add to that, tax thresholds are rising in 2028, and it seems like they're trying to give working families a bit of a breather. They'll be investing in the NHS and public services with £22.6 billion boost to the NHS. Labour aims to cut wait times, fund more equipment, and even add hospital beds. There is support for small businesses, a 40% discount on business rates and national insurance exemption on up to 4 employees roughly. So small businesses might actually catch a break this time. There was some positive news for the environment and for some energy initiatives. Labour intends to put in £3.4 billion for its Warm Homes plan, plus a new public entity, Great British Energy, to champion renewable energy, and that's going to be set up in Aberdeen as a new green hub. There was some interesting luxury taxes, and it was having elements of a Robin Hood with a modern twist, taxing the well-to-do to give back to the nation. So here's the new landscape: a penny off your pub pint to lift your spirits. Even as the tax hammer falls on those zipping around in private jets, tobacco, vapes and sugary drinks all joined the sin bin as Labour's aiming to curb unhealthy habits, and the jet set lifestyle is getting a reality check with a 50% hike in private air travel duty. The UK does have one of the highest private jet usage rates in Europe, surpassing other countries with around 90,000 private flights in 2022 alone. Now we get to some of the negatives, the criticisms and concerns about the budget. Employer national insurance is going to increase. Raising national insurance by 1.2% for employers could pinch some sectors. Small businesses may feel the strain despite those minor breaks. So critics are calling it a tax on jobs. There was increase in taxes on investments and assets. So capital gains taxes jumped from 18% to 24%, with new inheritance tax rates for larger estates. There were exemptions for small farms, interestingly, at 100%, but overall critics are saying it's going to make it harder to invest in the UK, and the UK's got a huge issue with investment because of Brexit. It's been down ever since, and that might drive any potential investors overseas. Concerns over housing supply and affordability. £5 billion in housing investment sounds nice, but Labour's target of 1.5 million new homes, and each home being at about 200,000 per home, by 2030, it's optimistic at best, and that includes the cost of materials rising, but also the huge labour shortages, which means currently housing takes double the amount of time to build. And all this leads to the big question: will it work? I think there are genuinely some nice things in here, and there is an attempt to try and get the UK back on track. But I don't think it deals with the bigger issues. So, for example, there's no talk about Brexit, despite several people having cited the amount of tax they need in the past is exactly what we've got now.
The mid-range of what the impeccably independent Institute for Fiscal Studies says there would be in terms of a black hole in the public finances. The mid-range, not the worst case, the mid-range is a £30 billion hole in the public finances. And this would be a permanent and structural hole. We couldn't just borrow more money to tide ourselves over.
And it wasn't just in the past, it was also brought up this morning.
Try and find £35 billion, but when you look at the loss to the economy of Brexit, it's about the same figure. Is that just left unsaid with no particular course of action?
Pretty much, except there were Labour MPs coming out and denying the fact that Brexit had caused this damage.
But of course, that austerity programme was then followed by a Brexit that was bungled. And of course, that was followed by the chaos of the former Prime Minister. I give way.
When he says that Brexit was bungled, it almost comes off as if it could have worked. No economist thinks that, except for maybe Patrick Minford, but we all know he's crazy. What concerns me more, are they trying to change the narrative to suggest that Brexit was workable and it was the fault of the opposition party? Because we all know that's not true. But if Labour continue to preach that, some might start to believe it. So to get us back on track with will it work, I think there are some good things with economic stimulus. I am a proponent of the idea that you have to invest in your country to maximise the amount of revenue you gain. The significant NHS, housing and regional infrastructure investments could help stabilise a post-Brexit economy, creating jobs in construction and hopefully boosting local economies. I think with the small business adjustments, you're going to see national insurance exemptions helping out those small businesses, which will hopefully grow into something bigger. And hopefully this will help the workforce constraint in the post-Brexit shifts. But I don't think it deals with the foundational problems with an ageing population, the youth emigrating, the humongous issue taking place with the birth rate being exceptionally low, especially recently with 18 to 29-year-olds almost having 0 kids. Labour's budget provides essential funding for healthcare, but it might fall short and it might not help if it doesn't support higher birth rates, which it doesn't seem to, or a tailored immigration policy. The idea to develop 1.5 million homes is an ambitious target, and I'm always a proponent of going big or going home. But inflation, regional demand, and shortages all down to Brexit, the fact that it seems to be driving up costs, that is going to strain its affordability. And the bigger Brexit effect, it is going to linger, and it looks like it's now part of the economy. That means we have 40 billion less to invest in the UK. But trade and labour mobility issues remain. Labour's approach to localised investment, while valuable, may require added resilience in the supply chains and direct support to affected sectors. And I don't see that coming at any point soon. So tell me your thoughts. Does this budget hold up? Or is it just plastering over a larger problem? One thing I will say is that it's a hell of a lot better than what we were under with the Conservatives. If you'd like me to continue making videos like this, please consider helping out with the channel by hitting that link in the description to give me a coffee, or maybe even become a member. Hit that like and subscribe button. Once again, thanks for listening. Bye for now.